Hello and welcome to another edition of Will's Grill Shack. Today we're firing up the little Kamado Joe Jr. and we're smoking some beef short ribs. A lot of questions on forums that I always seem to see is how much can you actually fit onto a Joe Jr. and how long will it smoke for, because everyone thinks they're not as good as what, say, a classic or a Big Joe is. But today we're going to have a look and see how long we can do some beef short ribs for. So I'm thinking they're probably going to be 6-7 hours ish. They are some 1.5 kilo Canadian purebred from John Davidson's online butchers, and the marbling on them is absolutely amazing. Like, you haven't seen anything like it. It's just like some of the Wagyu that I've cooked in the past. Really good quality. So let's go and have a look at the meat and I'll show you how to prepare that, and I'll show you the best way to prepare the short ribs and how I trim them, and then we'll take you onto the Kamado and we'll show you how we're going to set up that for a long cook. Okay, so here is our Canadian purebred beef short ribs. Hopefully you can see that there. The marbling is absolutely amazing. These are from John Davidson's. He imports a lot of US meat and you should really go and check them out. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. So we are going to be using some mustard as a binder. So let's chuck that on here. It's a little bit windy here today, so apologies if there is a bit of interference. Then we're going to be using this, which is brew and brisket from Norfolk Smoke Pit, which are friends of mine. Poppy, she's just started doing these rubs and sent them through for me to have a little try, so I thought why not give it a go. So put this liberally over the short rib. And then we're just going to leave that for an hour in the fridge just to really soak in to the meat. And this is what it should look like after an hour of being sat in the fridge. The rub has really sunk into the meat and we're going to get a nice depth of flavour. So let's start out the Joe. So for this, it's obviously going to take a good 5 or 6 hours, so we want to make sure we've got enough charcoal in the Joe Jr. firebox, so it is pretty full. So let's light this up. Going to let the fire establish for 5 or so minutes with the lid up and then we'll close the lid. Okay, so the fire is established, so we're just going to chuck in a bit of smoking wood and we're going to put on top, just like so. We're also just going to fill this water pan up, same mixture that I always use. I'll put the link in the description. Okay, smoke's now nice and clear. So let's get these short ribs on. So we're going to start with the thick part of the short rib at the back, because that's where it burns hottest. So we're about 2 and a bit hours in, and it's looking very good. You've got the bones starting to show here from the meat retraction. It's reading at about 53 degrees at the moment, so probably about 25 degrees off wrapping. We're just going to increase the temperature to about 140, just to try and cook it a little bit faster, and yeah, we'll pop back shortly. Okay, we're just approaching the 3-hour mark. As you can see, the bark's nicely setting, so we're going to just start spraying this. So we're another hour and a little bit on. As you can see, bone here, meat's really starting to retract. Currently reading about 65 degrees internal temperature in the thickest part. So I would probably say another couple of degrees, and then we're going to wrap it. Okay, so let's wrap. And there we go, nice and wrapped. Let's get it back on the grill. And back on the grill. So we've just increased the temperature after wrapping. We're now sitting at 150 degrees. They're not going to take on any more smoky flavour really at this temperature, so it's best if they're wrapped, obviously, just to increase the temperature and they'll cook that a little bit faster. Just a quick update, the little Kamado is holding 155 degrees, absolutely perfect with no problems. The rib's currently reading 92, not probing how I want them to probe yet, so we've got another few degrees to go, and then we'll be ready to pull them off and put them in the cool box. Okay, ribs are done. They're now probing at 95, I think it is, degrees, but they're really probing nicely. So you should be able to see that just there. And yeah, let's get them on the table and put them in the cooler. Okay, here's the ribs. Straight into the cooler. And we'll come back in an hour. Now let's have a look what we've got left. It's not a lot. I think we were hanging on in there towards the end, but yeah, there wasn't much in there in the first place, so it just does go to show how economical these are. Okay, so here they are. As you can see, got a lovely bark here that's formed. The bone the meat has retracted right back now, leaving the bone. So let's slice these up and see what we have. Oh, these are tender. Oh, look at that. They are beautiful. Lovely little smoke ring there from the cherry wood. Really tender. You'll see the fat there that's broken down. Absolutely lovely. Okay, so just a little recap on what we did today on the Joe Jr. We had some lovely Canadian purebred beef short ribs from John Davison Butchers. We then seasoned it with some of this brew and brisket. Lovely coffee rub from Norfolk Smoke Pit. We then put that in the fridge for a couple of hours, let that soak in, really get into the meat. We fired up the Joe Jr. We got to 110 degrees. We then put some cherry wood on for some smoke. Then we smoked for a couple of hours at 110. Then we cranked it up a little bit to about 130. And then we went all the way to, I think it was about 68, 69 when we pulled it. And then we wrapped it in some butcher's paper and we carried on cooking until it came to, I think it was probing about 94, 95. It was really good, really happy with how the cook went. Not my best performance of beef short ribs, to be honest with you. I found that the ones I did in the Broil King pellet grill were significantly better. You had a better smoke ring that was on there and the flavour was better. But it's only the little Joe Jr. It's a fraction of the price of what the pellet grill is, and it performed very well today. And as you saw, we barely used any charcoal, so it's super efficient. So if you have enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe here and like the video. Leave us a little comment on what you'd like to see next on either the Kamados or the Broil King range that I have, and let me know. Yeah, I'm open for suggestions on what you guys want to see next. Thank you for watching.